Alright everyone, welcome back. Thanks very much for all of the support on my videos yesterday. If you haven't checked them out, then I'd recommend you do. It will include the new Manhunt trailer. It will include the Countdown trailer, go over some apparel event stuff and some other little bits and bobs. Today I wanted to make a video covering a lot of the information we got out of the special report. Stuff that I couldn't just cut and post a video on. It's some stuff that I need to actually make a video on. This actually kind of feels like a state of the game recap video, something that I've not done for many years, something that I miss doing. So I want to get straight into this, and it will include stuff that wasn't as part of the special report but has been confirmed on Twitter afterwards. So hopefully you enjoy this one. Drop a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let's begin. Now, unlike my State of the Game recap videos, this will be in no particular order, so I'm probably going to be flip-flopping all over the place here, but I just wanted to go over everything that I was able to, I felt that was important to cover in a video here. So let's just begin. Season 9 and Title Update 15 comes out on May the 12th, and it's been confirmed that this will be at 12:30 CEST, so in the UK I believe that's 11:30 AM. The servers will actually go down at 9:30 CEST or 8:30 AM here in the UK, and this is when the content will be rolled out. I presume this is when you'll be able to update to the Title Update 15 for when the servers go live again at 12:30. The season follows the same formula as previous seasons, and I'll include a roadmap image here so you guys can see it, and includes two new apparel events called Fairview Crew and Street Activation. They're looking at having two new apparel events for each new season, so that's good news, because I think ultimately apparel events are actually pretty good, and from what I can tell with these Fairview Crew and Street Activation ones, they look pretty cool from what we've seen so far. Fei Lao is dead and will not be returning, but her actions will be expanded on through the year and looks to be a core part of the story going forward. Now, if you checked out my previous spoilers video, you would already know that. But yeah, but that's been confirmed by Massive now, which is good news. There was a large segment talking about how they basically had to start again with a fresh new team who all had to learn how to use the Snowdrop engine, how the game was built and how to train for that, which is why it's taken them so long. Ubisoft Bucharest actually started working on the new Countdown game mode and stuff in April of last year. Ultimately, the game was due to be kind of end of life in December of 2020, but I think the success of the content, Ubisoft basically went, or the bosses at Massive basically went, look, let's keep developing this game, and they're building a team out, and they are still building that team, so that's good. Now, Ubisoft Bucharest and Massive worked in collaboration on the Countdown game mode. There are 35 people at Ubisoft Bucharest working on the Division 2. I'm not sure how many at Massive are working on it, but he did say, Yannick did say there was a couple of dozen. So you may be looking at maybe 24, 36 people, something like that. So you're probably looking in the region of 50 to 80 people maximum working on the Division 2 at this stage. As I said, they are still employing new people to join the Division team, and the team at Massive, who are employees who are working on the Division 2, are employees that wanted to work on the Division 2, and that's quite important to know. Yannick did say that these are people that had other projects, they had choices, but they chose to work on the Division 2 because they wanted to, and this is a passion for them, and they really like this game. And I have to say that is probably one of the best things to come out of this special report, aside from some other stuff, of course, but just knowing that the people working on this, we know Yannick is passionate about this, are actually people that want to work on the game. So this PTS for the new content, Season 9 content, is the most successful PTS so far, with 19,000 players, which is quite staggering when you consider that when the game first came out, you would have had a lot more players actually playing the game. When we had PTSs previously, you would have expected those to perhaps have more players, but no, that's not the case. This is the most they've ever had, and you got to remember that this is PC only, and this is people who are wanting to partake in the PTS. So yeah, pretty good numbers when you consider this is a 4-year-old game basically. It hasn't had any content for 2 years. So Season 9 comes with 3 previous global events, Reanimated, Golden Bullet, and another one. Season 9 will be a direct continuation of the story from the end of Season 4. You'll basically pick up from where we left off at Camp White Oak. Season 9 will feature a reward track like previous seasons. There'll be a free track and then you'll have a pay track. The price unknown, but I suspect it will be the same as previous seasons. So here in the UK, it's about £8, I believe, £8 to £10, something like that. There will not be any new skill variants coming with Season 9, and there are no plans for these to be added. Yannick said the previous variants that they included didn't land very well, and they don't get much use in the game, so would rather focus on making current skills better. He did go on to further explain that on Twitter, saying they would kind of add it to the existing ones and iterate on the existing skills to make them better over time, which is good news. Massive want to focus more on the story with Season 9 and going into the other seasons and make this a better experience than before. They are leaning more into the story and they're hoping to deliver better on the story with Seasons 9, 10, 11 and 12. The new countdown game mode difficulty will remain as it was at the end of Phase 3. They are investigating the possibility of having more difficulty options, but want to get feedback from the entire community first. Like Countdown, Massive need feedback on the expertise system from the whole community with the changes made to resources in Phase 2 of the PTS. They can make further changes if need be. Another part of the discussion with the expertise mode is the accessibility of some of the more difficult resources to acquire, like exotic components, for example, and this is something they are looking into for future updates. The specialization revamp is something they hope will be ready for the next title update 16, but that's not concrete yet. There's no confirmed that it's coming with that yet. Crossplay will not be happening. Yannick has addressed this multiple times. I believe I've addressed this on the channel a few times, but yeah, just to kind of nip it in the bud, crossplay will not be happening. There are no plans to make a paid DLC at this stage. Inventory storage space will not be increased. It could cause instability issues because the saves, the save files of our agents is becoming too big, and that can cause a ripple effect. They are looking into other ways that they might be able to solve this issue. Moving on to PvP, they did address it a little bit. They basically said PvP is not their main focus. The team on the Division are built for PvE in mind. They don't have the people for PvP, and I assume they don't have the resources for it either. They don't want to give up on it, and they're going to continue to make changes to outliers like the shield changes that were made recently, and there are some other outliers within PvP that they are looking to address. It's basically bottom of the list. Now, it sounds like they simply don't have the resources for it. They don't talk about PvP much because they don't have good news. They do want to look at ways to improve the Dark Zone experience. There are no plans for a map extension or location. There will be new locations for new modes, like with Countdown, where we've got a new location for that particular mode, and if they add certain missions in and all that sort of stuff, it's similar to how we have like Camp White Oak and that sort of thing, then you will get new locations with those. But as a map extension, that's not something they are considering. Raid exotics will not be added to the general loot pool. There was a question raised about the possibility of having a postmaster like the Destiny 2. Yannick said he's not really that keen on this. There's already a lot of inventory management in the game, and a postmaster with hundreds of items doesn't sound like a fun experience. They are open to suggestions and feedback, of course, and one way that they possibly could do a postmaster is having a filter system that only collects items that you actually want, rather than just picking up everything that you miss, which is what happens in Destiny 2. It's one of the main reasons I actually hate the postmaster in the Destiny 2, because it just gets filled up so quickly. And I have to agree with Yannick. More inventory space, spending more time in inventory is not something that I particularly want to do. Moving on, in terms of legendary missions and adding more missions as legendary, it's not in their plans yet, but Massive feel they need to focus on difficulty in general before they consider having, more legendary missions. With expertise and the specialization revamp, we are going to be more powerful. There's no doubt about that. The real question is, how do we make new challenges for the top players? So that's what they are working on, which does, to me, make a lot of sense, rather than just adding more legendaries that the top players are going to find really easy. I've said this before, maybe a legendary plus or something like that. But from what I could tell from what Yannick was saying, what they're going to try and probably do is add stuff into the game that would nerf our characters or buff our characters and that sort of thing. Mechanics in the game rather than having another difficulty level. In terms of cheaters, Yannick did say they are being banned. They are not discussing it as they don't want to give anything away about how it works, but they do see all of the posts on the forums and they do investigate those posts. The season pass will contain the previous seasonal missions. Hardcore mode may come out of beta at some point. It's something that they are, or something that they've certainly put on a list. I don't know how far up that list or down that list is. I presume it's nearer the bottom, but they do want to make it come out of beta at some point. It's not something they're considering right now. There are no new directives coming with Season 9, and they may want to change how directives actually work depending on the discussions they have around difficulty. Leagues are on the list for improvements in the future, and more challenge is part of that conversation. This was confirmed by Yannick on Twitter. The Codename Nightmare event that was meant to happen, that didn't happen, will not happen. So yeah, you don't need to keep asking about that one. And there is a free weekend from the 13th to the 15th of May. So there you go, everyone. In terms of the new seasons, the apparel events and other things, I do have videos on the channel right now covering those. And I'm hoping to have maybe another video soon, probably tomorrow now, giving my feedback on the special report, the good and the bad things, before the actual content goes live on Thursday. So make sure your notifications are turned on for that. But that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure your notifications are turned on to never miss any of my videos. And until the next one, Epic out.